No, but the next day she was like, "Will you send me Uber Eats?" And I was like, "Fuck no." She's like, "Don't talk to me anymore ever." I was like, "Okay."
Do you have her phone number?
No. Well, I probably do on an old phone. You could call her if you want. See, because she's actually a sugar baby escort. I'm almost sure of it. But she thought I was hot.
I fucking hate unemployment, dude.
You're on unemployment right now? You're getting unemployment compensation?
Yeah, job attached. I do landscaping in the winter, in the summertime and spring, and they lay us off for the winter. But I do plastic welding on the side and shit, and be starting. My business is registered with the state, but I'm going to be like actually jumping into it.
So that the one resisting authority.
But these bitches, I didn't get signed up for direct deposit yet. I did today, but like the first 2 payments I did with a check. And dude, like, you don't know when it's going to show up. And those pricks, trying to call unemployment is impossible. Like, you can call right when they open, like 30 seconds after they open, and you're already full of a queue, and they don't even let you in. I'm pissed.
I know. Welcome to hell.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll get through it.
So, it's 11 o'clock here. I have to take action in my life, regardless of the consequences or the outcome, because I'm a man of action. Not a man of words, but a man of action.
And who's going to free Palestine?
From the river to the sea, may my people be free.
Luckily, they're friendly people. They'll be all right.
Lech lecha!
I'll just let them through.
Lech lecha! Oh, my bank account has been seized by a lawyer. Oh, I can still log in, but my account has been frozen. Yeah.
Wow, why?
Oh, because they got a judgment against me from a foreclosure, a house that I bought in 08 that I put my life savings into that they took from me, and now they claim I still owe money on it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit, dude.
I think I'm just going to go to Israel and say, you know what? Americans, you can fucking keep it. I'm becoming 100% Zionist. I'm going to hopefully go to Gaza and claim my stake and take some Palestinian woman's house and be like, sorry, things didn't work out well for me in America. A bunch of lawyers sued me into bankruptcy and took everything I had. So, I thought it'd be best if I just become a Zionist and come here and take everything from you. Sounds to me like it's a good idea. Rabbi Raphael is here. Maybe he can give us a rabbinic reading and a rabbinic ruling.
He's the greatest rabbi of Cleveland, Ohio, and probably beyond that. But I mean, he clearly has the market share on Cleveland. He's the man.
Everybody knows Rabbi Raph. But who's the rabbi? Who's the rebbe in Cincinnati, Raphael? Who's the big macher in Cincinnati? Who's holding it down for Chabad in Cincy?
He's a little bastard.
What is that again? I hear that. Chabad. What is that?
Chabad is an acronym for Supreme Intelligence. It's a Mossad front group dedicated to spreading Zionism around the world. Through Menachem Schneerson. Oh, Monica is here. Hi, Monica. Do you want to say anything, Monica? Oh, Rabbi Raph, I was being facetious. Chabad is an acronym, though. It's Kabbalah. It's Chokmah, and then Chabad. H is what? I can't remember the acronym. But it's Kabbalistic. And if you read the Alter Rebbe, a.k.a. the Tanya, I can read you something from the Tanya. Let me grab it. You'll love it. It's right up your alley, Creekside. You really need to know the wisdom of the Tanya. If you do, you'll be very happy. No, the replay isn't on, Monica, because this is Scott's morning show. This is a social room. Do you know how social rooms work versus rooms with recordings? I know you do. Let's look at Monica's profile and see what interesting rooms she's created. over the past couple weeks because I know she's a big book reader. Let's see. Can't even click her profile.
Monica shit on me a few times, so
I'm gonna
I
do.
love Monica, but she bums me out.
I'm gonna do Monica a bigger favor. Instead of centering herself in the chat, she can just go to another room real quick, center herself there.
I'd like to make a request.
But how did she remove all these things?
She left anyway. I'd like to make a request.
No,
You
she
don't
got
give her a
removed.
hard time. You're on a nice roll, Adrian. I think you should go positive, Tanya, and all that.
I am. Listen, I'm having financial difficulties in my life, but I'm still very positive because, honest to God, the Tanya.
That's how it should be. Life is more important than money.
Listen, I believe in
That's
meditation.
easy to say when you're fucking
A
struggling.
smile is more important than money.
No, that's bullshit. Smile ain't gonna get you off the streets.
Listen, the Tanya, in my opinion, when I read Tanya, I was like so happy. I was like, finally, it's not a mystery anymore. It's a very psychological book. It's about self-actualization and self-realization, but it's very positive neurolinguistic programming, and this is why the Jews, in many ways, are so happy because of this book, in my opinion. And I'm not, a big Talmud Chacham, but I will read to you about the 5 kinds of humans. Our sages taught, before you were born, you were taught, and before you were born, you promised. Be righteous and not wicked. And even if this entire world calls you righteous, consider yourself wicked. This teaching seems to contradict an older one. Do not regard yourself as wicked. The Gemara resolves this contradiction, teaching us that humans can be divided into 5 categories. The righteous who succeed in erasing all selfishness. The righteous who fail to erase all selfishness. The wicked who succeed in holding on to some inkling of selflessness. The wicked who fail to consider anything or anyone but themselves. And the in-betweener. The righteous who...
Give us the Jewish words for all this, like the Russia and the Tzaddik and all that. I think it's nice.
Adrian, I'm curious I'm fascinated by this translation.
Yeah.
Who's the author of the translation?
I'll put it in the chat. It's Rabbi Rami Shapiro. Forward by Rabbi Zalman M. Schechter Shalomi.
Oh, okay.
It's called Tanya, the Masterpiece of Hasidic Wisdom. Selections annotated and explained. One of the most powerful, potentially transformative books of Jewish wisdom with facing page commentary that brings the text to life to you. You want me to read the dust jacket?
No. I guess I was just interested because I'm familiar with this passage you're reading,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just interested in the very figurative way he's translating the Hebrew terms into English. Which I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying I've never heard it quite translated like that.
Yeah, this is why, to me, as just a native English speaker, it's so powerful because I have other books on Tanya, but this is like a very direct, succinct, simple, but also the commentary itself is very unique. So I'll finish the passage and then I'll read you the commentary. The righteous who succeed are those who are motivated solely by their inclination toward selflessness. The righteous who fail are those who wrestle with yet control their inclination towards selfishness. This is the subnote, or this is the last part. The wicked who succeed are those who wrestle with but fail to control their inclination towards selfishness. The wicked who fail are those who are motivated solely by their inclination towards selfishness. The in-betweener is motivated by both inclinations and must continually struggle to bind the selfish to the selfless. This is the subnote. The Benoni, literally the in-betweener, is someone with the capacity for both good and evil who continually struggles to turn from evil and do good. Psalm 34. Turning from evil means expanding your consciousness from neshama, the egoic intelligence that sees the Berea world of independent and competing selves, to chaya, the soul intelligence that sees reality as absolute, a world of interdependent and cooperating selves. Doing good is acting for the welfare of both self and other, rooted in the understanding of the unity of self and other. Neshama and chaya are two of the five intelligences to which you have access. Each intelligence sees reality in its own way. In addition to neshama and chaya, there are nefesh, the intelligence of the world of asiya, pre-conscious matter, ruach, the intelligence of the world of yetzira, instinctual drives and feelings, and yechida, the intelligence of the world of Adam Kadmon, where all things are seen as the one thing, God. All five intelligences are operating all the time. The world you perceive depends on the intelligence you use to see it. Where the righteous strive to escape the lower worlds of Asiya, Yetzira, and Beriah for the higher worlds of Atzilut and Adam Kadmon, and the wicked deny there are any higher worlds at all. The Benoni seeks to understand the system as a whole and hollow all worlds through acts of love. I'm in love. This is the other subnote.
I
Penamayut.
think the goal is for us to be Benoni.
Yeah. Yep.
Adrian, let me just ask you, because I think you follow me on Instagram. Are you, like, you're the same voice, you're the guy who does that Rebbeinu Shalom
Yeah.
thing? That's you.
That's him. But he's in calm mode right now.
Yes, I see that. Okay.
I mean, you know where Rabbanu Shalom comes from in the Hasidic tale, right? Where he goes up to the Rebbe, says, I have a student who can say 1,000 pages of Talmud. He says, that's amazing, but I have a Talmud Chacham who can say Rabbanu Shalom 1,000 times. That's
Yeah. I mean, that's not the origin of these friends, but yeah, I know exactly.
yeah, that's Nachman. That's Nachman from Nachman. Yeah, because I used to live in LA and I used to go to synagogues, or I used to go to this guy Rabbi Lazer Brody. I don't know if you know who he is, the Breslovers.
Yeah, I know Laser Bird. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been to Cleveland.
Yeah, Rabbi Shalom Arush. That's where I, started learning about Reb Nachman, and they, Los Angeles is basically like little Israel in many ways. There's a very vibrant Jewish community there.
A lot of Israelis have moved there because the weather is
Yeah.
they're more comfortable with than other parts of the U.S.
Yeah.
Similar to Perth as well.
Yeah, I did a Shabbos with an Orthodox family. I signed up to do like a full Shabbos at an Orthodox family's house, and it was incredible. I went to this executive's house. He was like a former music executive, and he became Shomer Shabbos, I guess, Orthodox. And he had these young children that he was raising Orthodox, and they were the most polite, intelligent children. So there's such a loving family, and they had like their little security bubble, and everything was going so well for them, and they were all studying Torah and living a very Orthodox lifestyle on Pico Robertson area. And then I went to Yitz Jacobs' house, this Rabbi Yitz Jacobs. I did Shabbos at his house, and I pulled my cell phone out to like take a picture, and he almost had a heart attack. I wasn't thinking.
Okay, LA. I didn't know you'd Jacob, but in general, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Nice to meet you for real.
Yeah.
Every time I see you on this app, you're like faking it somehow. So like I've never really spoken with you because I thought, okay, you're doing this weird parody shit, and I didn't know how to.
Well, my father's side is Jewish. They're from Ukraine. My mother is Goygish. She's a German and she's English. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. Their names are the name is Farley. They're from somewhere in England, my mom's side. But my dad, he divorced. He got divorced, and then he remarried a Jewish woman named Patty Kaplan. And I was like, I told him one day, I was like, it was your destiny to marry a Jewish woman, and he doesn't like that, but it was.
You have quite the familiarity for someone who wasn't raised Jewish. Like, your pronunciation's off, like you wouldn't be able to fool me, but you have far more familiarity than most people who are.
He's interested, he's motivated, he's a seeker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Hasidism is the way to go. Once you read Tanya, you'll realize that it's a full 360-degree psychological masterpiece, because it's basically Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud. And what I'm saying is Judaism already figured out all of the psychological traps and tricks about ego death. I mean, it's all right here in Tanya. And this is why a rabbi can provide counseling to troubled youths and understand the problem between good and evil in the consciousness, in conscience, in your psychology, in your psyche. So if you know Tanya, you know therapy, you know counseling.
I think you're more ahead of people than others, but I definitely wouldn't tell someone who has learned Tanya that they're ready to, be a professional therapist.
No, I'm saying a rabbi who knows Tanya can provide therapy. Or really, I mean, this is.
Yeah. But, I know, like, there's one rabbi who is very active online teaching Tanya and teaching Hasidic thought. And he is always saying, and I actually give him kudos for it, he says, I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed mental health professional. And he's right, but he does give a lot of good advice anyway. But he is very careful. He is very aware of the differences. Like, just being an expert in Hasidic teachings does not give one the capacity to diagnose or treat, real mental health issues. So just beware.
Yeah, I would say it's a supplementary, but even the problem is.
It's a very strong supplement, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a great supplement.
Yeah, because when you're dealing with the other stuff, it's all legal, basically. You're dealing with, society as opposed to the metaphysic, which is what I think a lot of people are missing, as opposed to the material world with pharmaceuticals. But the thing is, people don't do talk therapy anymore. And so Clubhouse is basically free talk therapy. And that's what people are using this for, to fight depression. It's a dopamine feedback bump. And that's why people keep coming back.
That's interesting. I think that's probably why I dropped off of the app in the last few months, is because I'm not getting that at all. Like, a lot of my friends and colleagues that I was comfortable talking to just left. And okay, that's a nice insight you got there. I never thought of it that way. But you're right. And I think the current mental health state of things in the world is clearly failing, but no one's willing to admit it yet. But I think the entire pharmaceutical system of dealing with this has failed. I'm not going to tell everyone who's on meds to just get off them, because I don't know what the consequences of that would be. But I think we're clearly living in a time where that's not working. And I remember talking with a psychiatrist 20 years ago, and they said, I don't understand. You're a prescriber. He said, yeah, when I went to school, getting training and all that schooling to be a psychiatrist, he said that I was learning how to deal with people, how to talk with people, how to hear them, how to listen to them. And now I'm just part of this system that has, 10 to 15 minute windows of time to just, hear some basic symptoms and then give a prescription. And, it's not healthy. And then they put all of the effort of listening to people on all of these other social worker types who might know what they're doing, but I think it's changed the way we deal with people who are suffering. And I don't think it's a good thing. So
Finally got a hold of that unemployment, by the way.
What's that?
Nothing. I was. Sorry, I got to get that.
So I'll read another chapter of Tanya if you want to hear it, or if you want to chat, we can chat. But
No, if you can do whatever you want, but that's not what I'm.
no, I know, but I just believe that we can use this app. We don't have to use it all the time for this way, but like I think reading select verses is like a powerful way to use this app personally, and then for other people, because I believe that all communication is hypnosis, and that what we read goes into our subconscious and impacts our decision making, our actions, our outcomes. Like, this is in many ways what I think the gospel is, go spell that, if the world was created with Hebrew letters, if we transpose this information into our memories, it will be of a great blessing for us and will help us, you know, with regards to depression, with anxiety, lack of clarity, because really knowing the concept of God is liberating and joyful. And that's what the Tanya deals with, uh, persistent joy and eternal happiness. I mean, because when you realize that the universe is infinite and that you are an extension of this infinity, the Tanya says that the spaciousness should bring overwhelming joy and ecstasy. So I'm a big believer in that concept, metaphysically, theologically, like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to expand your consciousness, I suggest you read Tanya, and a glass of red wine on a Shabbos with the Tanya will help expand your intelligence significantly.
I drank almost almost a bottle of red wine yesterday. That was a mistake.
Well, you should do it with a good book like Tanya, because otherwise you're wasting the wine.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm not even a big drinker. It fucking hurt my head.
Yeah, I agree with what Mind Virus Propaganda wrote. There are good people trying, but I think that using a script in the same way that software developers use programs and coding and scripts, I think the Tanya is a script for life, or the theory of, really it's a philosophical book, but it deals with happiness. And that to me is like the major problem in life, is that even if you have a bunch of money, you still may be depressed and unhappy. Because really you feel disconnected from God.
Yeah, yesterday I was in a room, Adrian, nice to meet you. Not with Jews, but with a Korean guy, friend of mine on this app. And he's a real proponent of conservative values. And we were we were rapping back and forth. And one of the biggest problems, I think, in society today is just how crappy media is. I realize that people want to consume crap media just the same. People want to eat sugary cereals. But I had lived in Japan for a decade. Okay, Adrian, catch this. The little kids from around 3 years old, 4 years old, inside of their classrooms, inside the school, it's the little kids that wash the toilets in Japan. They wash the walls, they wash the floors, they take out the garbage, there's a great documentary. You could just search Japanese kids cleaning the classroom. The point of the exercise is, of course, cleanliness and respect and ownership for your public sphere. So the entire idea of the public sphere in Japan and the public sphere here in North America is very, very different. The public sphere in North America is, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's this, we lack a feeling of interdependence, and I think this is a major problem. And you're speaking specifically to the Jewish perspective, but I think these good public manners, whether you call it good conservative old-fashioned Jewish values or Christian values, or good old-fashioned Asian values, whatever you want, I think they're all very important to promote. And I think what you're speaking to, there's room for this in different spaces on Clubhouse. There's a lot of people with very similar values to you that aren't even Jewish,
Yeah, well, you brought up the Japanese. The Japanese practice Zen, which, if you've ever read Dhammapada, or I have a book by R.H. Blythe, and really, if the universe, see, this whole thing I think really does deal with God, and the reason why there is so much depression, the universe deals with random chance. And since we are alive, it's basically saying that it's joy, 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 that life is joy, and we're already in the Garden of Eden, But like you said, there's so much content that causes bad contentment. And it really is our ears, and the word earth is ear, it's what we're listening to, which is causing a lot of the depression and a lot of the anxiety and fear and just unhappiness. Like, honestly, if you can do 30 days without getting angry, whoa, you're onto something. Anger, frustration, anxiety, depression, all these things is really, it's not even like a lack of faith, it's a lack of understanding. It's integrative knowledge, or da'at, I think it's called in Hebrew, and that's one of the acronyms for Chabad. Anyways, yeah, I mean, to me, this is the ultimate topic, is God, because it's you could call it superficial if you want, but it's really like a 360-degree universal philosophy of joy and happiness. And if you believe in tikkun olam, or people wanting to, I just think like helping other people psychotherapeutically, it helps me. It's like if you support those that support Torah, or if you, in order to really learn, you have to teach. I think that's like the formula for success. Is if you, like you said, there's an action problem. So in the Japanese school, to get everybody to take action and clean and create a unity of oneness and respect for the material world. We do not respect the material world in Western society. It's all so quick and superficial and just dopamine laced.
Yes. Yeah, we don't respect. We also have a very short-sighted view of cause and effect and interdependence. So if you're living in a high-trust society, a really interesting clash was, you can look up this idiot. I think he calls himself Johnny Somali. And he went to Thailand, and he went to Israel, and he got kicked out of Israel, and he went to Thailand, and he got kicked out of Thailand, and then he went to Japan, and he got kicked out of Japan, and then he went to Korea, and now he's being arrested there, maybe 17 years in jail, because all he did, when he came over from the United States, all he did was make a complete fool out of himself and completely disrespect the local culture, spitting on the street. What he did in Korea is the Koreans have a statue, and it's a statue for the rape victims of when the Japanese ruled over Japan. And this dumb American kid rubbed himself down in body oil, and then he rubbed the statue down in body oil, and he
This is so hot.
Johnny Somali,
right?
that piece of shit. I hope they throw that guy in jail for a long time.
Well, that's the problem.
I don't want him coming back.
No, so that's the stark difference between a culture that has respect for people and a culture where everybody thinks that, what I do doesn't affect other people. And it's absolutely, it's horrific. And people talk about, in the United States and in Canada, we have freedom. Think again. You don't have freedom if you don't live in a high trust society. You don't have freedom. Because when you go outside, you have to watch out for people doing stupid shit.
Yeah, but see, you could say that he's a philosopher, and what he's really trying to do is troll and gaslight society to prove that they are not philosophers, that they are not in control of their emotions. And I mean, that's what I do on this app myself, is to try to show people, hey, you don't control your emotions control you. Thus, you don't know Stoicism, you don't know God, because you're easily gaslit. If you're one with God and you're full of joy and happiness, when a troll comes into a room and harasses you and abuses you, you laugh it off and you just view it as the universe trying to come at you, to invert you, to troll you, to gaslight you, to ruin your day. And you could say that that piece of shit is doing the same thing. Now, there's legal repercussions for that. And this is what Socrates was talking about when he said philosophy is not in vogue in Rome anymore because you get punched in the nose. So to me, philosophy and God directly deals with anger management. And that's why God is a useful tool. It's because it deals with your emotions and your anger response automatic system.
Yeah, but God, don't forget, the Abrahamic religions were used primarily as a tool to get everybody on the same page so that society functions well. We're lacking that. And you can be as patient as you want, but I don't know, man. I think societal reform is called for. That's just my opinion. But I'll shut up now. I'm hogging the stage. Raphael left and
Yeah, but
a couple people left.
in philosophy, societal reform is always now. Salvation is only now. There is no free beer tomorrow. So if you work on society now, you can change it tomorrow, but tomorrow is still just an abstract concept. It doesn't exist. You can't touch tomorrow, you can't touch yesterday. You can't smell it, you can't feel it. It's just a concept now in our abstract mind. So
But Adrian, I bet my bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun.
it's a
come May.
I know there will be sun, but it's a concept. Tomorrow is now. It's always this is Groundhog Day. And unfortunately, Groundhog Day has been consumed with a bunch of liberal social parasite communists that are incompetent, angry, and they want to cut your son's penis off and declare that you're gay. I'm being facetious, but not really. Like, we're dealing with a lot of really parasites, because Chicago is like a perfect example of the parasite bubble. We have a parasite mayor who comes from a parasite organization known as the Chicago Teachers Union, which is a bunch of red-wearing communists who believe in wealth redistribution by taking your property taxes and giving it to them through their salaries, their facilities, etc. And it's a totally unsustainable proposition because there's no return on the investment. So when MindVirus says we need societal reformulations and changes, it really needs to change at the liberal progressive level to bring us back into common fiscal financial common sense. The pensions are underfunded and there are hundreds of billions of dollars in liabilities. That means that if you actually did an analysis of how much revenue is anticipated versus how much revenue is going to pay out, you'll realize that the system is not in equilibrium. The books are not balanced. And they're not balanced because of a cultural unbalanced. They're psychologically unbalanced. They're intellectually unbalanced. They're mathematically unbalanced. Their accounting is unbalanced.
It's culture. Culture is at the heart of everything now. What people assume to be normal, and new kinds of normal, that's the heart of the issue. If you want long-term cultural success, that's where you have to point yourself at. Yeah.
Which is conservatism, because when you're conservative, you don't go out and have a $120 steak dinner every night. You might just have a ham sandwich with a small can of soup, which costs $4.95. And so what I'm saying is they're spending money aggressively, progressively, but no real return on investment. If they don't embrace STEM and philosophy, I think the big thing really is philosophy, is that I've read enough books to know that the culture today is completely unaware of the ancient philosophers and what they're talking about. If you read Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus, Aristotle, Socrates, you will see just how warped we are, that the culture isn't interested in God. The culture is interested in what Kim Kardashian's ass looks like. It's so fucked up. The content is the problem. It's unmitigated, unrestrained, constant flow of content and sex and vulgarity and dopamine. Clubhouse is a microcosm of the public, and like what George Carlin said, the public sucks. Why do you think we keep getting these shitty liar politicians who are frauds? Because the public sucks. So
here's the question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was my rant.
No, somebody else wanted to say something, I think. Okay, so people will say, in the name of freedom, give the public what they want, but the public wants sugar cereal. Should the government come in, and I think they should personally, and say, no more sugar cereal for you. There's enough crap on media. Let's show more wholesome stuff. What do you say about that?
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content.
I'm okay with that.
No, I heard this argument on this app the other day. Gay Hampton Spears is like, the government needs to stop with these ingredients and intervene and prevent these ingredients from being used. So the problem is government. That's the problem, because the marketplace should work it out based off of pragmatism, and intelligence, because people are consuming the mal ingredients and all the high fructose corn syrup and all the other chemicals because of depression and short-term dopamine feedback loop. Our society is essentially bankrupt, completely and utterly bankrupt, and that's why we have poor decision making, because the fiscal irresponsibility of plunging us into slavery, which is $40 trillion. I myself have had a judgment for 300,000, but that's nothing. The average American family has a debt with the federal government of $600,000, and that's just their federal, not even their state and local. So, if when Trump comes in, I believe that either you could be an anarchist libertarian and literally plunge the nation into chaos, or you could continue the fiscal irresponsibility and the lie, but you could do it with superior lies. And I think that by being dishonest, but being an academic dishonest and giving meat and potatoes back to the people, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any solutions, but I just worry that the children today, I'm a 40-year-old guy going out trying to meet chicks in their 20s and 30s. And when I see a chick in their 20s, I just basically, you have to admit that their grandparents and their parents and their parents, they haven't saved. There's no savings. There's nothing. None of these young people have any savings. The government is totally broke. The government should have a surplus of $40 trillion. Everyone should be born with a golden check worth 500 grand to pay for a house, to pay for a college. Like, that's what a real society does. A cohesive society saves and prepares for the long term, the long run haul. Unfortunately, this government and this culture has been subverted and overthrown. And I just, I don't see a future, because there is no future now, because everything is in debt.
It's the clash between first order consequences, second and third order consequences. First order consequences, I eat this chocolate bar. It makes me feel good at this particular moment, but in the long run, it's shit for my health. And, too much media promotes these, as you're saying, quick dopamine fixes. On the television, you see people getting rich quickly. You see instantaneous results, and that's certainly, it's nothing could be further from the truth. Is what the Japanese young people are taught, to be extremely patient and disciplined. So I don't know. We need.
But look, Japan's fucked too, because they're mixed with us. And when we say go to war, they'll go to war. They're fucked too. And World War III is brewing. Anyone who hasn't studied history and looked at World War I, World War II, in fact, World War III is already going on, but it's going on at like a corporate industrial type of scale, and Ukraine and Syria and Gaza, all the hotspots in the world is where all the taxpayer revenue and all the weapon systems are going to, and it's not stopping. It's only accelerating. Blinken, the State Department, Biden, they're all accelerating.
I don't believe it.
They're pushing.
We're doing fine in this world. No, I'm kidding. No, you're right, man. I don't know, but we got some time, Bob. Since Trump won, I will say that. I believe that. I really do. If we had Kamala, Liz Cheney was going to be that bitch's defense secretary, and things were going to get really bad. But I don't know. It might have already, like you said, Biden approving these long-range attackers and shit and mines, it might have already gotten to that.
But see, that is the mirror image of what's happening here in America. The society here is dying. The society here is sick. And that's exactly what's being mirrored overseas. I mean, what, 500,000 people have died in Ukraine? Young people for no fucking reason. This is 2024. This type of shit was supposed to be prevented. I mean, 200,000 died in Iraq, 500,000 died in Afghanistan. I don't know if those numbers are accurate, but it's believed that 2 million people have died as a result of the 9/11 regime change operations overseas. 2 million people. And in America, we're killing 100,000 babies every month and spending $1 billion to do it. Is that logical? No. That means we have special interest aka Democrats, aka doctors, aka lawyers, that do not want to see certain industries shut down, regardless of their moral and ethical implications, because there's a lot of money at stake.
No, there's definitely a lot of money at stake, man. I mean, what did they say? I was reading, 63 million babies officially have been killed since Roe vs. Wade was passed, but fuck, it's a lot more than that, I'm sure, man. There's got to be some sort of financial incentive to this.
I mean, whenever I hear a free poly say they're killing babies, Israel kills babies, I'm like, Israel kills babies. I'm like, I got a Planned Parenthood across the street from my house that kills fucking a couple hundred kids every year. Like, where do we differentiate between medical malpractice, genocide, regime change? Like, to me, it's all in the same boat of vulgarity and stupidity. So, I don't know. I mean, anyways.
I just want to say, Adrian, that the Mike Moon is in the audience. Who the Mike Moon rule is named for in Steve Appel's room. So
I know. I love Mike.
I'm a huge Mike Moon fan. Huge Mike Moon fan.
I'm a big fan of Mike Moon. Yeah, I know. I mean, but he's a broken record. I'm a broken record. You're a broken record. How do we?
Mike Moon, the man, the myth, the legend.
This is shocking me. There's somebody that actually likes me on this app. That is.
Mike Moon, I'm a huge fan of you, buddy. Huge fan of you.
Good. Well,
Me and Mike had a big fight yesterday.
I don't talk to Scott much. Yeah, we did, John, didn't we? We did.
What's up, Mike?
Not much.
And
Scott,
I felt bad though. So we're good though.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm like a golden retriever, man. I get over shit real fast. I'm good.
Me too.
That's why we love you.
I don't. I like to hold grudges.
I listen to the wisdom of Adrian here. I enjoy it when John is when he's serious. When you actually speak honestly, and I like listening to you, man.
Yeah, me too, dog. I like it when you're not going manic too.
You're talking about Adrian?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on with him for like the last, I don't know, couple months and stuff. He told me he was a troll.
He's either doing performance art or being himself, but he's smart.
He's
hypnotizing. One of them gets old, you know.
He's hypnotizing.
Yeah, but how can you tell that this isn't performative art that I'm doing right now?
Oh, it's all
because you're speaking authentically. You're being authentic, man.
I know, but when I come on here to troll, it's usually just because people are wasting their time, and when they start wasting my time, I just want to play music and interrupt their rooms and point out, hey, you guys are really wasting my time and your time.
Yeah, I mean, your trolling has a deliberate message behind it. It's just sometimes buried really deep behind it, depending on the day.
His trolling scares me.
Yeah, women say that a lot. You scare me.
I don't know, man. There's no point in trolling. It's kind of a waste of everybody's time, unless you can be so good at trolling where people are like, wait a second, yeah, I guess what I just said I was being a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but just by recording people and putting them on Instagram, and then when they listen back to their playback, why do they hate me? Why don't they ever just say, you know what? My take is actually really wrong and stupid. And I am a liberal progressive, and I do have mental health problems. I am depressed, and I am a psychopath.
Yeah, no, it just creeps me out when you join the rooms that I'm in and you start playing frequencies and NLP stuff.
That's like, I believe in hypnosis for therapeutic purposes.
I do too. That's why it creeps me out, dude.
I was talking to a cigarette smoker. We were having a smoke and drinking a beer. And I said, hypnosis for cigarette smokers works. And he says, it won't work on me. I was like, well, if you listen to a CD for 60 seconds about hypnosis cessation, smoking cessation through hypnosis, you know what you're not doing for 60 minutes? He's like, what? I'm like, having a cigarette. He's like, yeah, that's true. I guess it works for 60 minutes if you listen to a 60-minute CD.
Well, I mean, studies show that hypnosis has a 75 to 80% efficacy, so.
So I went up on stage one time for a hypnotist, and I always wanted to see if it was real or whatever and be on the receiving end of it. And strangely, I did have an interesting experience. I never was hypnotized. He finally just let me go, like, leave the stage and go back down again. But I was at the point where I couldn't open my eyes anymore. He got me to keep my eyes closed, and I couldn't open them no matter how hard I tried until he told me I could. And so I was sitting there aware of everything while he's going deeper and having people do other shit. And I'm like very aware that I'm still wide awake, but I can't open my eyes. And it was really weird. And so I kind of held my hand up, and he came over to me, and I said, I'm not hypnotized, but I can't open my eyes. And he said, oh, go ahead and open your eyes. And I opened my eyes, and they opened. And then he said, all right, you can go back down, or, get off stage, whatever. And he, like, escorted me off. And then he kept fucking with the other people. So, I mean, I don't know what that was, but it was true.
Mike, I can't open my eyes. Mike, quick, tell me I can open my eyes.
There was a hypnotist who got in trouble because some of his he was hypnotizing women and sexually abused, like, touching them and shit like that. And, like, a couple of women remembered it happened. Like, look this shit up. Like, this just happened. Where this guy's on video doing a couple things where it was like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, he was literally doing this so he could sexually, like, molest these women, apparently. And it worked.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of sad? Like, I mean, if you come on Clubhouse, right, and let's say you're being sarcastic or trolling people, or feeding out some whatever narrative hypnotism, and people don't know if you're sincere or not. It's a bit sad, isn't it? Because it means that you've actually kind of lost faith in humanity. Like, I genuinely, when I talk about these things, like, culture can be changed. I think the major problem is media. I'm being quite sincere. I'm not being sarcastic, and I think it is possible to change, and I think it is possible to make the world a better place. But I just feel like a lot of folks have given up so much on culture, like, en masse. I don't mean just like within their own little group bubble or similar, you'll have folks, the Muslim rooms or the Jewish rooms or these rooms, and they'll set out rules and ideas of how to make the world better within their own community. I'm talking about, like, on large. Like, I really do believe that we can make the world a better place. If we come on here, we're sarcastic and...
I know, but the truth is the internet... The internet should solve this because it's the only way to financially do it. Like, this should be the modern collegium. This should be the college and the undergrad or the you see what I'm saying? Like, putting all of our tax dollars into a failed educational system, it has to be liberated by the economics of the internet, which is free telephony. There's no reason to put all this money towards facilities, towards administrative expenses so high. I mean, it should all be done on our fucking cell phones in your house. The modern transportation, everything is a huge illusion and a lie. This shit was figured out in the 60s. Work from home should have happened it should be eternal. Going downtown to major cities to go into skyscrapers to keep paying the utilities and the maintenance of these buildings when all this work can be done from home because it's nothing but a bunch of paper pushers. You see what I'm saying? Like, the internet can liberate us, but we have to be honest about our fiscal irresponsibility over the past 30 fucking years. And otherwise, this country, I mean, I will go to Israel. I would rather live in Israel because they are actually running probably a fiscally responsible country. I know. Anyways.
Nah, they're in bad. They're in bad debt. But
I don't like their government.
People have to live and work with each other. They have to be taught to get along. Like, all people, all different groups of people.
Okay, so then it's just a question of meditation then, right? Everyone has to have that come to Jesus moment or that inner realization where they're like, okay, I'll stop with my bullshit because you've stopped with your bullshit and now I see the light. But No,
it's not that. It's just like, I understand the religious perspective. I think it's something larger. It's more like a societal, societal good public manners. Fucking that alone will solve a lot of problems, man.
I know, but
Teaching
anger,
universal societal good manners.
but manners deal with anger management.
Trolling has real function on this app, dude. Like, listen, trolling you could do it on stereo. It was even easier because they had messages, and you could only use like avatars, so it was a lot easier. You know, you change your fucking voice a little bit, use a language, and have a different avatar, and you could really trick people. But on this app, you have to be a little bit.
Yeah, but listen, the whole point of
So
trolling is to just basically show people how fucked up they are. If you go to Blue Sky,
yeah, exactly. That's what I did. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, like Amir, he kicked me out of his room. Amir, that pro-Palestinian group. They're always talking about killing Jews and killing people and stuff, but they're always talking about how everything has been infiltrated by the Zionists. So I went in there with a different voice because they were talking about the IRGC and stuff, you know, of Iran. And I was telling them too, like, yeah, that's been infiltrated by the Zionists. Everything's been infiltrated by the Zionists. You know what I mean? Like, and after a while, they fucking realized that it was me and kicked me out all that.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't know, maybe, I mean, do you think it would be ethical to use Neuralink? Because if you didn't have to issue a minimum basic income to prevent revolution, do you think you could actually MK Ultra people ethically? I mean, did you ever see the movie Gattaca, where it's like willpower versus genetics, and in the end, willpower beats genetics? So I'm just wondering, like, could you do a mass inoculation? I mean, technically they tried to do it through the V word, through the ZAV backwards. In my opinion, I do think that it is a depopulation program of sterility that Bill Gates and Fauci have conducted.
What movie did you say that was?
It's called Gattaca. It's with Ethan Hawke. It's a very good movie. He wants to get off the planet and get into an outer space colony. So he fakes his identity. He does identity theft, but his brother is a police officer. And in the beginning of the movie, the brother has like superior genetics. They're like designed humans, genetically designed humans. It's a great movie. You should see it. It's called Gattaca. And Uma Thurman is in it. It was like very, very futuristic. It's amazing how you can make futurism very simplistic. Like if you ever seen UHX 1138, like society is just ruthlessly efficient and bland because there is no reason to invest in artistic, flourishings. So I'm just saying that the future is very boring and bland, and they make it an artificial environment by using daily medication to keep you productive and happy enough. It's a very interesting movie, whether it's THX 1138 or Gattaca.
Well, the truth is that we're already under hypnosis. You just have to choose which hypnosis you're under, and which type of hypnosis is best serves society at large.
You think you get to choose?
No, I'm not saying I get to choose. I'm saying if a society were intelligent, if it were thinking long term, if it were trying to harmonize its citizens, if a society were trying to maintain stability and if the goal of the government was to build a high trust society, then that government and the media folks should have the long-term thinking, rather than feeding people sugary cereals. They should have the long-term.
Yeah, but that's the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I mean, if you don't have that memorized and embedded into your consciousness, you don't know what liberty is. You don't know what real freedom is. I mean,
How do you define freedom?
It's a philosophy of liberation. It is liberation philosophy, theology, meaning that we don't serve a king. We are free men, and that's really what a Freemason is. It's free my son. That's what a Freemason is. Free my son. Freedom.
Yeah, but free from what to do what and to what extent? Because one person's actions always affects another.
I get it. So in Thelema, the Aleister Crowley religion, it says love under will under love, meaning that love is the outcome of all the philosophy. Joy is, ecstasy, meaning that that's the problem, is that we have become such an atheistic, communistic, progressive, liberal society. Unfortunately, in contrast to that, the hyper religious or God followers are extremist, racist bigots, or what they used to say the biggest problem in America is white racist Christians. Now, I'm just trying to contrast that with the cultural Marxism that we have today. Anyways, the point is, to me, Tanya is a perfect book for self-rectification, because I don't believe the government, like you wanted mind virus, you want the government to intervene, to fix the problems. My point is,
Yeah, the media.
And the
Just
media.
sticking on that topic.
But
Yeah,
my point is,
sticking with that.
my point is, truly, the only way to do it authentically is if people reach into their chest and pull their heart out, their true self. Meaning that only through self enlightenment and liberation can the actual culture really change. Because if the government pushes down an inauthentic, fake enlightenment, it will be rejected by the system, because the concept is that there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. Despite all of my complaints, we have to admit that there still is a functionable society happening. So the point is, like in a dysfunctional family or in a dysfunctional society, there's still some functionality. But on whole, the financial picture is abhorrent and going to destroy us. So,
But what about the idea that there's an argument, let's say, within the African American community where a lot of conservative African Americans would say, this gangster rap crap music is negatively affecting young people's view of themselves, right? So they see themselves through the lens of this kind of Hollywood bullshit.
I get it, but again, this is Constitution.
Okay.
This is freedom of speech.
Let me land. And some people on the argument, they say, okay, yeah, that is creating problems within their community, right? This image thing, this gangster image thing. And then some people say, well, actually the gangster rap is just a reflection of the reality on the ground. But I have to say that people see themselves through the expectations of others. So if you have, just as an example, young African American men seeing them, quote unquote, themselves portrayed in this particular light, it's a subconscious thing where you almost feel like you have to play out that role. I'm making the suggestion that if you change that visual narrative, people begin to see themselves in a different light, and all of culture can be changed. So if we take the news and we put a lot of positive things on the news, if we show people of different races and different races and religions getting along, I'm saying that in effect will actually change the culture. So it's like you have to have faith that if you put out these positive
I get it. The marketplace.
It will. Yeah, I don't care about the marketplace because I think that's where I fundamentally disagree with a lot of people.
I know, but what I'm saying is the marketplace or the universe has an amazing ability to equilibrate the situation. So if you have drill music, which is a programming for committing murder, songs which are programs basically to commit murder, you could have people that create positive, optimistic, joyful drill music, which counteracts the murder drill music. I'm just saying that using the government to manipulate the environment is always destined for failure, because the environment has it.
I'm saying that the government does it anyways, so they might as well do it in a positive manner. The government does it anyways.
No, they need to stop intervening altogether. That is the only positive intervention, which is to stop intervening. And I can prove it to you in the following statement. There is a strip club here in Chicago called the world famous Admiral Theater, and in the front on the brick face, it says, "The greatest right a government can afford its citizens is the right to be left alone. Leave us alone." That's what our government should be doing. And instead, listen, you know what the ad council is, and Facebook and Meta and Google? The government is spending hundreds of millions and billions of dollars with ad tech companies so they can put out government health insurance ads, to put out stop smoke. Like, why is the government buying all this media and sending us government messaging to go sign up for Obamacare? The government needs to be deconstructed, shut the fuck down. There needs to be a massive unemployment problem in this country because the government's out of business. That's my opinion. And then we'll start from there and we'll build our way back up. But just like going through the military and going through boot camp, this government needs to be shut down, put through a boot camp, and be rebuilt because it is completely inefficient, it is fraudulent, it is criminal, it is terroristic. That's my opinion.
See, I completely disagree with you. I think the government's always going to be in cahoots with large media companies, with news agencies, with special interest groups. And these guys are putting out really crap news messaging, okay? And since they're going to be fucking with people's heads anyways, they might as well do it in a positive way. I just don't see any way to.
But you do realize when you say positive, that means they're going to put out trans advertising and LGBTQ equal rights ads. That's not an effective usage of our dollars.
No. I think when I think of positive messaging, as I said, I think of people, videos of, let's say a black teenager that looks like a gangster helping out his 90-year-old white lady grandmother. I think of videos like, I'm talking about like Leave It to Beaver, sort of homey, feel good sort of things, because I think that actually has.
Why don't we just pay taxpayers? Why don't we just pay taxpayers $1,000 to read the Constitution from start to finish and post the video on YouTube? That would be an effective usage of U.S. dollars to re-ingrain the Constitution in the minds and hearts of every American, so they know just how bad they're getting screwed. The only agency out of the 440 agencies that is in the Constitution is your Census Bureau. They're supposed to conduct a census. That's it. There's no CIA, there's no FBI, there's no NSA, there's no 350, 500 agencies. It's not there. If we all knew that and we woke up to the fact that as an income taxpayer, you're getting screwed and you're getting pushed into debt, but you don't see it because it's not in your bank account.
Two very different things. I think we're talking about two very, very different things. If I remember correctly, your opinion was that good public manners, conservative behavior, good family values are kind of... that comes down to like religious communal standards and to sort of the private life. I disagree. I think that good ethical home values is a very public concern. I guess
I know, but fiscal responsibility is not in their consciousness. You're again talking about progressive values, not fiscal values.
Yeah, I think of when you talk, I think of I'd like to buy the world a Coke, whatever that commercial was from the '70s, where it was like all these different colored people and they're all singing along harmoniously, and it was a total like hippie Coke ad. And I think, okay, that's kind of what you're talking about as far as media promoting kind of what you're describing. But then I think of the commercial and I'm like, but what they were really doing was they were doing that so they could sell us sugar drinks that cause diabetes and make money. So the problem is that when they deliver that propaganda,
big Coca-Cola.
When they deliver that propaganda, it's really hard to see if that's the actual message or if there's something behind it that's much more nefarious that they're trying to trick us with.
No. So Mike, what I'm talking about, again, because I live in Japan and North America both, okay, is that I was speaking to Adrian earlier about how the Japanese little kids, since they're like 3 years old, they clean their own classrooms, clean toilets, they wash the walls, they make their own lunches, they do everything together, so they have a real sense of communal responsibility and interdependence. So in Japan, the most important value of all is having self-control within the public sphere. Okay, yeah, I know, Flora. I'm not saying that Japan is perfect. I'm just making this one particular example. That's what I'm sort of calling for, is this kind of respect for people within the public sphere. And a lot of Americans say, or North Americans say, well, that's the realm of religion. That's where your parents.
No, mine. It's not really that, but I too lived in Japan for many years. Okay, I've lived in Japan many years, and I'm married to a Chinese woman. And I can tell you that Asian cultures, especially Japanese, and even more so, it's a tribal, communal lifestyle where the people themselves are ingrained to be more social. I think of America, it's the exact opposite. America prides itself in individuality. I own a gun to defend myself against anyone else around me.
It's a problem.
So yeah, it's a problem. Well, it's a problem, but additionally, in addition to that being a problem in many respects, it's also fundamental to the reason that nothing that works in Japan would work in America. Pretty much, they're so vastly different. Like my wife, Chinese, dude, fucking rule follower. Like stand in line and wait your turn. She's bothered when I'm like pushing along with everybody else, and it's like. I get it, but like Americans aren't rule followers, and so what you're describing has to be done in the context that what's in it for me? Because if you expect Americans to give a fuck about their fellow American, those times are gone, dude.
No,
care.
and that's the biggest problem in North America. That is the single largest problem.
Right. Now, at the same time, Americans.
I think I can if you have the ability to contrast the countries, you'll see. Clearly, that is the fundamentally largest problem.
Exactly, but now let's talk about Japan very briefly and look at the homogeny of the society. It allows for massive prejudice that we would never have in America. Like I, as an American, couldn't go into certain places. They just had a sign that said no guy jeans, no American jeans, more specifically. No Americans allowed. You'll fucking kick your ass out. We can't do that in America because we're not a tribe of all the same people. Like we got so much diversity that we don't get the advantages that discrimination basically allows, which is for the prevailing society that is able to discriminate. Yeah, they can work together. They can find some commonality there. But America, again, we can't do that. So, it's not like the experience in Japan is always better. I mean, they have miserable working environments where they work their asses off. And like I said, they can be prejudiced openly in public and against foreigners. And I look at all those things and I say, like, okay, I'm not saying I wouldn't rather be in Japan. If I was Japanese, I would. But living in America as American in Japan, I don't think that it's necessarily better than living as American in America. It's so vastly different that I really have a hard time comparing the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I don't think it's a matter of diversity or diversity. I just think that they have a very strong civic responsibility. I mean, if you have 1,000 different, let's say you go to a basketball game, right? And you got black people, white people, Mexicans, Asians, everybody's at this basketball game. If everybody's like cool and they pick up all their shit when they leave the stadium, they make sure that their area is very clean and they wipe the seats and they slowly walk out in order and they don't push each other and battle to get in the front and they don't spit on the ground. That's got nothing to do with race.
Wait, Mind Virus, let me interrupt and just interject. I saw a video of a Tokyo Japanese police commissioner go to a man's house who was falsely imprisoned for 20 or 30 years, and he bowed. But he didn't just bow, he stayed bowed for probably, 5 minutes to show true remorse that as the leader of that organization, this man was falsely imprisoned and criminally, prosecuted with lies. And, he showed the respect, and the family was like, there's nothing you can do that will bring back that time to our family that, was taken by our city. But at least he really showed true humility. And that's the problem today is no black mayor who's there.
Fuck that, I want money and reparations for that shit. You throw me in jail for that long?
Adrian, I can tell you a quick story about that, actually. When I was in Japan, my car was vandalized by a drunk Japanese man that walked down this line of cars, and he jumped on the hoods and the tops, and he kicked our mirrors off and this and that. Well, they caught the guy. And I was a Marine stationed in Iwakuni, which is south of Hiroshima. And in order to deal with the consequences of it, the police called the Marine and told the Marine base and told them to have me meet this guy. Scheduled a meeting, and I went in there, and I'm in my camis. I'm 6'3", and this dude was scared as fuck. This old man, he was probably 60 years old, and he came in with 2 Japanese cops, and he was forced to apologize to me in person, and then he had to pay me for the cost of my car repair, and they made me count the money in front of him. And he just sat there bowed the whole time. He was terrified to be in there. And then
why did he do it?
and then they said, GoMen money. They said, now he's got to give you some GoMen money. I'm like, what the heck? He's like, more. So I counted that, and the GoMen money was twice as much as the other money. So the dude paid me. I think it was probably back then like $1,300 worth of repairs or something. I got almost $4,000 from him, and the police made him give it to me all in person, right in my face. It was like an eye opener that they hold them deeply responsible for acting out.
Yeah,
What was
everybody.
his reason for doing that?
He was just drunk and stupid. Probably.
Oh, he was drunk. I missed that part.
Yeah, just being stupid. But that's the thing. Like in some societies, like Mike, in Asia, people understand interdependence. Like if I do something negative, it affects another person, and it weighs highly on their conscience. Our largest problem in North America is that everybody thinks that whatever I do has no effect on another person. And it's a very it's horrific, and I think Adrian, basically my whole riff this whole time was like, let's change the fucking media. The media keeps, as I said, like I had this argument with Uncle Steve, and he's like, well, that's what people want. People want crap on the media. And I'm like, but dude, man, the long-term effects of this are so horrific. All this crap on the media, we have to show Leave It to Beaver stuff. We have to teach kids to get along. We have to, give real apologies. Japan's not perfect in any manner whatsoever. But I think too many Canadians and Americans, I'm not sure about Americans, but Canadians, they think that this kind of civic responsibility, it can only be taught to people at home. I don't think so. I think it's a public sphere sort of thing. And what's more public in the public sphere than social media, than the television, than the news? Nothing. If we just had a radical change in the content of the news, in the style of its delivery, if we have this positivity, it's absolutely changes the culture. That's what they did in China. They shut down all the crap, the crappy like people doing stupid shit on social media, and now all they do is promote like girls playing with kittens or young men helping people walk across the road, and it does have real positive effects on the culture.
We need that old timey announcer voice.
Look at even in Netflix, right?
Walter Cronkite?
Streaming, any kind of streaming.
No.
Any kind of streaming, what I'm looking for, company, organization, right? Have you ever noticed it's filled with horror and gore and violence and even true crime. People are obsessed with that kind of stuff. And psychologists actually say that if you are an individual who likes to watch those kinds of things or even really enjoys true crime, that you should reflect and ask yourself, why does chaos make me feel comfortable? We are just a negative feedback loop.
I'm desensitized as fuck.
Yeah, I think that what we need to do is we need to go back to that old timey announcer voice that everybody. They talk like this every time he said something.
10 easy steps to stop. I don't know. I just get the feeling it already is a gated community, and it's going to continue to become a gated community, like that movie Escape from New York, where Manhattan becomes the world's largest open air prison. Whatever Trump is going to do, if he restricts licenses or he mandates things for FTC, I mean, Trump is the cultural generator now of the soul of America. And that's why he's target number one. And if he survives, he can restore Americanism to the Americans. And that's my opinion why he got voted in. Because at the subconscious level, just like the lizard mind of fight or flight, when threatened, we vote for strength to lead us to salvation. And I think that's why subconsciously Trump probably won, if it's not altogether all criminal and fraudulent and some kind of deal was struck, or because Kamala is so despised by the ruling elites, most likely. So I don't know what the solution is. I just want to come on Clubhouse, smoke a little weed, read the Tanya, hypnotize myself with positivity. Hopefully hypnotize other people with positivity and go from there. That's right. I like a little cannabis with my coffee in the morning. Don't hate me. I'm a free man. I'm pretty sure John Adams used to smoke weed with Abraham Lincoln. Pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Weed every day, bro.
I think we wanted. I think we to your point. I think we want to change. I think we vote for change when we feel like we don't like the way we're feeling. We vote on feeling and we vote for change. And if that change, we just want something different. And if Trump if he reflected something different, which he did, then we don't go into too much depth to figure out if we really want what we're asking for. Be careful what we're asking for. But we do want something different. It's very clear that in my lifetime, every 4 or 8 years, we switch from one party back to the other, back and forth constantly, because we get complacent and we want something different. And that's why when these stupid economists tell us that we're all crazy and that everything's great, I mean, two things. One, we're tired of being lied to when we don't feel that. Even if it is true, we don't feel it. And number two, when things are great for economists, I'm starting to realize that doesn't mean they're great for an average American. I don't think those are the same thing anymore.
Yeah, those economists just got a lot more money.
Yeah, and it used to be like we thought, oh, if they're doing well, it'll trickle down through the stock market and affect my 401k. Well, that's why
Boston.
Yeah,
that fucking listen, my dickhead bosses, bro, because one of them makes $42 an hour, the other one makes $36 an hour. They were telling me that things weren't that bad, that I just had to save more, that I had to get a second job. See, like I make only 21 an hour. They make, because they're making a little bit more of me, man. They're trying to tell me because they're not struggling, even though they're not far from struggling. But they're not struggling. They thought everything was good in the hood, everything was fine. In fact, they told me Trump wasn't gonna win and shit, and that everything was good. Nobody fucking liked him. Well, now fucking he won the popular vote, and people voted for him mainly because of the fucking economy. So fuck those assholes, man.
Yeah. He won because we think the economy sucks right now. It's just like James Carville says, it's the economy, stupid. It is. It's always the fucking economy.
It is. It's true. It's true. But also, you know,
Biden's acting like an asshole.
oh fuck, dude, that guy, man, like the whole Ukraine escalation and targeting his son. That's like, wow.
If it was just the economy, how did he get voted in the first time?
Because it was the economy. Because when that was the case, we were coming off COVID. We were all fucking miserable. We wanted something different. We had fatigue.
When he got into
The first time when Obama had gasoline expensive as fuck, Obama was running the country wrong too, man. It still was the economy. I mean, it still was. Also, it's
It doesn't even have actual relevance to the facts either, because I'm not convinced the economy is doing bad every time we feel like it's bad. But the reason Trump lost the second time was because of how we felt at that moment. It's real easy retrospect. I don't think this was great on Trump. They really weren't. At the end of it, we weren't feeling good at all. That's why we wanted to give anything. We had fatigue. We had fatigue of his bombasticness. We had fatigue of all of the hatred in the media toward him and all the focus on him. We were just burned out. We were just tired. We wanted quiet for a while. It was deeply quiet after Biden took over for that first year. And then it started building again. And then even when the economy now is apparently doing well, we're not feeling that way. Again, we want change.
You know what makes me feel good? When a small content creator.
The economy is not doing well.
I think Donald Trump made the economy just good enough to where people got comfortable and didn't think it was actually him.
The economy is not doing well. Anyone who thinks that does not know us.clock.org. Just look at the numbers. That is the economy. That's the balance sheet.
I'm not convinced that low unemployment is something that Americans want. I don't think Americans give a fuck about low unemployment. I think that the wealthy care about low unemployment because if they have businesses, but how can low unemployment help me when I know that if the employment, if it's easy for them to find workers, then they're not going to take care of me. Like, how is that better off for me that they can find workers easily? I don't get that at all from my perspective.
The Federal Reserve is lying. It's all a huge lie. It's one giant facade, meaning that you could go to work for the next 30 years of your life and be fully employed and make a nice salary and have a nice savings. But eventually, the bigger picture is going to bleed into your finances and you're going to get taxed to death. The government is bankrupt beyond repair. Beyond repair. We're now spending $1 trillion a year to service the debt. $1 trillion a year? $1 trillion a year just to service the debt? That calls for drastic action. Dramatic action. Shut it down. It has to be shut down. That's my opinion.
third world country wearing a fake Gucci belt.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's exactly.
Anyways, I don't think we have to despair because in many ways we can continue to cheat. And really, this is the problem is that most people are just trying to grab as many resources as they can before there's a massive implosion or really before World War III breaks out. Because if you live in a gated community and you're fully armed and you've got a lot of money, you're secure for the most part, but you'll have to defend your territory. I mean, if there is a massive social upheaval and uprising because so many people are out of work and in the streets, and the lawyers and the bankers have taken the whole system over. I mean, that's what they're worried about, and that's why they want an unemployment rate at 5%, and they have the levers and the mechanisms at the Federal Reserve. But it's all fugazi, because when you go to usdebtclock.org and you look at the real financial balance sheet of the government, you're like, well, how is there not an uprising right now? It's because your Apple iPhone doesn't explode. It's the facts. I mean, we're in every country around the world still. We're spending so much money. Recall the ambassadors. Recall the State Department. Bring it all back and shut it down. It's all fucking lies. How can we keep spending money we don't have? And it's not going to stop. And Trump isn't even going to stop it, probably. He probably won't. He'll probably spend like a drunken pirate too. But Kamala would have spent like a drunken whore pirate.
I'm hoping. I mean, I'm hoping that what Trump does, whatever he does, dude, I'm behind it. I just do something different. I don't give a fuck. Shut down the FBI. Shut down the CIA. Do whatever the fuck he thinks is a smart thing to do. At this point, it's a gamble. Go for it. Let's see something different. Kamala would have been more of the fucking same. Let's see something different.
He also doesn't want to focus on Iran and where the fuck else? Iran and
Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah, and some of those other countries right now. It wants to put all the focus on China, which, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not a big Trump person, but I haven't been too upset with some of the decisions he's been making, and I think that it's a good idea to focus on.
But when people say, I don't like Trump, and they preface what they're saying with the fact that I was never a Trumper, I'm not a Trumper, Roger Mayhem, all these other people who say, and then Jay Breska, I voted for Kamala to protect my granddaughters, but thank God Trump won, so now I'm with Trump. Okay, great. Get with Trump, get with America. That's the point. Trump is America.
I agree with that.
Pleasantly surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. And yes, I'm actively working on brainwashing myself to be a Trump supporter. But
listen,
you don't have to. You do have to be a supporter at this point, because honestly, not supporting him or not wishing for him to succeed in whatever he's trying to pull off, whether or not you like what he's doing, is voting against us at this point, because he's there for 4 weeks.
No, I'm not one of those people. That's not it at all. But I am pleasantly surprised. I like some of the choices he's been making, and very, very disappointed in what Biden is choosing to do during his last few months.
Oh my God, bro, it's so crazy. I'm still just shocked by people who fucking voted for Kamala and Biden and shit. Now like, oh,
dude,
Trump is doing some good shit, This is crazy.
I don't think you have to be shocked by people that voted for her. I think that you should just be dismayed by people. I get that. That's what I'm saying. You should look at the people now, okay? Because not everybody is set in their fucking ways like you are, dude. Right now, I'm supportive of Donald Trump. Right now, I'm supportive of change in Donald Trump, and I'm completely aware that he's there. So there's no reason to be dogging me for voting on Kamala. I have a right to vote for whoever the fuck I want.
I'm not dogging you. I'm just I'm still.
But you shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised.
You should be surprised. The Capitol, Mike. They want to charge the Capitol.
Yeah, I mean, you should be. You shouldn't be surprised. You should just expect everybody to fall in line now for the benefit.
No, man. I want to. This is the perfect time. This is why I joined Kamala Harris rooms, because I want to know what makes these people fucking tick. And I love to hear when they're doing well.
There's multiple things, dude.
Trump was doing good now.
There's multiple things that make the people tick. There's multiple things that make the people tick. Some of the people
I'm trying to figure that out.
some of the people that voted for her are people that didn't appreciate Trump's takeover of the Republican Party and restructuring of it to set a completely new motives and agenda for the party. There's old Republicans that are called right, that are people.
It's awesome.
Listen. I'm not commenting on whether or not it's right or wrong. You asked who voted for Kamala. There's two people. There's Republican.
Can't take it anymore. Moving on to greener pastures.
That's right. Dude, in the last week, the sheer amount of emails I've gotten is insane.
I love how you have selective hearing, Diego. The audience, is that you? Because if it is, I don't mind. But there's a lot going on in the audience there.
No, that's not me.
Right, it's Sarah.
It's Muhammad. I fucking told you. Oh my God, is this Sarah Fox?
Not Sarah Fox. It's Sarah.
Shut the fuck up, you fucking bitches.
Oh, you're so scary.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, not bad
Oh my
words.
God, you're
please.
online. I'm scared of you.
No bad words, please.
No, you're an online bully.
No.
It's David Bobadilla the second.
Wallah, Moro, I will put you here behind your head.
So I'm waiting. So when's Iran gonna hit back to Israel? Did they forget that they were gonna do that, or they changed their mind? What's going on there?
2 weeks I hear.
After we took out all your air defense. Pick it up, boy. Pick it up, boy. Pick it up. Any day now, right?
Ceasefire.
Any day now.
Listen, man, that's really gonna happen when you guys stop wearing diapers.
Right after the 12th Mahdi comes, right? Right after the 12th Imam reveals himself, right?
Yeah, but you got
Any minute.
When's your temple being built?
We weren't confused. Do you want pennies?
Look at all these prophecies.
Do you expect pennies, El Noma? Or pennies?
You guys are the only army in the world that wears diapers.
Oh,
No, we weren't confused. It's absorbent.
The only army in the world that wears diapers.
You're not even in your right.
We weren't
Dude, go on mute.
confused.
You're not in the right weight
only
class.
army in the world.
You're
that
not good at this. You're not in the right weight class, sir. Go on mute
No,
and
you're
learn.
not. You're right, Ab.
Can you
You're right.
believe that?
Learn. Go on
You
mute
guys
and
wear
learn.
diapers. Look at this. You guys wear fucking diapers.
You're a
You guys shit
faggot.
yourselves.
You're not
Yeah,
even
sure.
alive.
You guys shit yourselves.
Shots fired.
You're still
I don't
sucking
know. Your
on your
material is
mom's
not going
breast.
over very well.
I don't know, man. You guys shit yourselves.
Get off of your mom's nipple.
I love how you're refuting it though. You're just crying.
Stop wearing
He's
diapers.
trying. He's putting in his effort. And this is what he's.
Free Palestine, though.
Cool. Awesome. What else you got?
Palestine.
Free parking in Palestine.
We never
Free Palestine and fuck Israel.
Fuck Israel.
Fuck Israel. Fuck.
Faggot. I can't.
Free parking in Palestine.
It's lame.
There is no Palestine.
And then apparently this is why the Jews, don't understand that it's their behavior.
No, I know, Nora, but you're clever.
I sit on Israel every day.
Yo,
What's that, Ed?
Who's about to get arrested?
Nora's clever at least.
124
These people
I
are
don't
dumb
think
low
so.
IQ.
No.
Alarma.
She's better
It's
than
a bullshit
Pick
thing.
it up.
Like,
Pick it
This
up.
bitch, Netanyahu.
Your material gets worse every day, Soren. Is it time for my Soren imitation, Soren? Soren, is it time for my Soren imitation? My name is Soren, and I hate the Jews. Zionist entity. They are apartheid, genocide, apartheid entity. I hate the Jews.
Mom.
Pick it up, Norma. Pick it up.
Good boy.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick up the coin in Tehran when we bomb it.
Hold on.
You guys
Put your
are
address.
Lebanon.
Lord, put your address in the chat. I want to make sure you don't take out your parents.
Ormo, I will close your account now, Ormo. Look,
What's
my
that?
friend, look.
What's that, my
I will
brother?
close your account, man.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
Expose you.
Go buy
Take your time.
another SIM card. Go buy SIM card.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't even get this one. What is he
No,
trying to
she
say?
said she was going to expose
What
you.
language is this he's trying to speak?
They said they were going to expose
What's that?
you, Norm. They said they were going to
Okay, do
expose
that.
you. Are you scared?
Expose me.
Yeah, I do that.
Expose me.
You're exposed.
Yeah.
You're the only one showing your
Do
face.
that.
They're not.
Like topless or what? Expose me, definitely.
Can you please
I like the reality.
respect to the eldest member of Clubhouse, please?
He's showing his face. None of you guys are.
But we're showing
Chicago is
the
bankrupt.
We're showing the fucking reality.
Yo, normal. Why do you change your PPR?
You guys are not even old enough to be on this app.
I mix it up sometimes. Oh wait, I'm getting Ron. Wait, I'm getting video. Breaking news. Whoa, look at that. Whoa. What happened to Ron?
You know what?
Whoa, what happened?
You know what's also
Sorry, you better go home and make sure your parents are okay. Sorry.
That
Make sure.
wasn't nice. That wasn't nice.
From Qatar.
2,500 pesos to Tel Aviv. 2,500.
Okay, go ahead. Do it anytime you like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
2,500. That's a fucking.
All right, go ahead.
Iran,
Go ahead.
right?
Send them over.
Right? That's what Iran
Send
did,
them
right?
over. Iran is afraid to respond.
Pick it up. Bro,
Iran is finished.
$90,000 salary, $72,000 annually gets barred from Chase.
I'm very happy with the way it's going.
Do you like dimes over pennies, Elnoma?
I'm not the degenerate and
You like pennies?
I've been killing
you like
anyone.
the idea that you'll
You
never
gotta
be
look for
allowed
good
in this
property
country,
taxes.
probably not in your own either. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with that terrorist passport that you have, Sora? Puria, I should say.
Wow.
What are you gonna do with it?
Wow.
What are you gonna do with your terrorist passport?
Thank God I don't have to pay property taxes.
I am from Qatar.
I like Qatar. I don't think it's pronounced Qatar. Yeah.
Yeah, look at my PTR, guys.
Yeah, your country
is terrorist for Tel Aviv.
In 7 October, we
Do you know which country is the smallest country in Middle East?
Yeah, Israel is fucking terrorist.
I love
In 7 October, we didn't kill any children in Gilab Gaza.
This is fucking Tel Aviv right now. This is Tel Aviv.
Israel, I'm giving out free passes to my new strip club. I'm
Who
gonna have a
is?
strip club in Khan Yunis called the Gaza Strip Club. You guys want to come?
Yeah, my city in Khan
Yeah,
Yunis.
your mom will be the stripper.
When he was,
Yeah, I would. That's
I
right.
leave when he
I'll
was
be here on
all
open
day.
night.
And yes,
All the females in his family would be the strippers.
Yeah, I'll be the stripper. I'll go topless.
They're exposing you anyways. Might as well.
Absolutely.
Do you like pennies, Elnoma?
Yes.
And isn't it cool the way how much they're obsessed with me? It never stops. Isn't it
pennies?
interesting?
And they're just you guys are all obsessed with each other, but these are just not even good trolls.
Well, I'm not obsessed with them. I never give them a thought when I'm not there. I never say anything to them. I never stop.
It takes 4 of them to talk
I
to
do shut the fuck up.
Elnoma, why do you love money so much? Why are you so greedy?
Aw.
Who said I love money? When did I say that?
Well,
You're
because
so
the
greedy.
Jews
Why is
control
that?
everything, Norm.
Why are you so greedy?
What's that, Ann?
Because the Jews control
What?
everything. We already know
Why
that.
so
That's
greedy?
right. We control everything. What do you think we should do with Tehran, though?
Why are you so
How many
greedy?
pieces? We should break up the. What do you think we should break Iran up into? How many countries should we break Iran up into? What do you think, Aaron?
Man, I mean, why is that?
It takes ever.
And did you?
Why are you guys
know
don't
this?
believe
Assad like murdered
lazy,
tens of thousands of
man,
Christians.
deceptive,
I can't
greedy
hear over
people?
this.
Why?
Assad, I know he's got a weird thing. He's getting more and more freaked out as Iran loses.
Why
more
do
and
you
more.
love money so much?
Everyone's losing.
Who said I love money?
You love money.
I love helping mankind. I like to be a light unto the nation.
Do you love pennies?
So
Do you
the
like
people
to
don't end up like you.
Consider the rest.
There you go. Pick it up. Pick it up.
look down.
Has worked out very well for us, and that we want to make sure we uphold. So one way or another, it's going to happen, whether they win it on appeal or they do a new compensation plan in Texas, or however it is going to happen, they're going to make sure it gets done and that he's incentivized.
I think Tesla has a
properly.
strong case going into the Delaware Supreme Court. The Delaware Supreme Court has a history of being quite favorable towards shareholders, thus meaning it's good for us, Tesla shareholders, and not the ruling that Judge McCormick gave. So we'll have to see. I don't think it would make its way all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. I think this is just going to stay a state issue. I don't even think the U.S. Supreme Court would necessarily take the case. So I think we should assume that this is the end of the road to going to the Delaware Supreme Court, and we should act like it, and we should help, Tesla in any way that we can, just like we did last time.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
just give a brief comment on this. I mean, from the legal perspective, obviously, you should just talk to a lawyer. But from the moral perspective and from the principle perspective, I think the answer here is obvious, that this is a violation of shareholder rights and a violation of the principles that make this country and make the stock market great. You know, we have a $60 trillion stock market for a reason. It's because people have faith in corporate governance and have faith in shareholder rights, which we take for granted as Americans, but are not taken for granted in most other places in the world. So, yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the idea of really like executive compensation fairness, these laws are really about specific cases where, let's say, there's the CEO of a small business or something, and it's typical to pay these CEOs maybe $2 million a year, but instead the board is friends with him, they give him $10 million a year or something, right? And shareholders maybe, you know, could have just paid him less and been fine. This is not really a situation like that. This incentive structure, it's easy to look at it now and say this is a monster pay package, but the base case outcome was that the company would fail and the package would be worth nothing, right? It was not a foregone conclusion that he would meet all the milestones. In fact, the media at the time said it was impossible to meet the milestones.
Actually, Bill Gurley, who it was with Brad Gerster on a podcast many months ago, he said he spoke to many CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, and they said that they likely would not have accepted the package as a CEO, you know, many years ago, because it was completely incentive based. There was no base salary, no nothing was guaranteed. So everything was performance based, depending on Elon doing his duty and his duty to shareholders. And he ultimately ended up succeeding and delivered for shareholders, and then he gets screwed over by this, you know, small shareholder and this predatory law firm using this shareholder to try to just get money.
Exactly. That's really all it was. They don't care about anything. They wanted $300 million, and they got an enormous payout, you know, way over the time they spent on this. And I think really, when you're talking about the issue of, you know, fairness and fiduciary duty, it's really hard to make the case that the board